This is my house that I rent for £541 a month. It's on a scheme called Rent to Buy, and I'm going to show you 3 housing associations up and down the country that you can do this with. Number 1, the Riverside Group. They offer rent to buy properties in the Northwest, Northeast, Midlands, and London. Here's just a quick example of what they offer. So they've got some houses currently in the Midlands for £700 a month. Number 2, Carbon Homes. They have properties usually in the north of England. So we've got North Yorkshire, North Tyneside, we've got West Yorkshire on there as well. And here's just a snapshot of what they've got on at the moment. If you're interested in any of their properties, you go on their website and it'll tell you how to go about applying for them. RBH. Now, I'm not actually entirely sure where they offer homes, but I know that they offer the rent to buy scheme. And to apply with them, you click the link on their website, you put your application through, and then I'm assuming if they have property and you pass the checks, you'll be offered one. There's plenty of other housing associations up and down the UK that offer this service, so if you want me to make a part 2, let me know down below and follow me for more hacks. Bye.
This is interesting because there are so many more things that can be done, even just outside of rent to buy. Obviously, back in the day, we had right to buy. And even outside of that, there's help to buy. There are so many social incentives in order for people to move further faster as it pertains to property and getting on the property ladder. Even in one of our previous videos, we spoke about how there's now a ISA which actually pays you to put money inside as long as that money is going towards buying a house. So there's lots of these incentives. And I think the real challenge when people seem surprised, because looking at this video, the reason the creator made the video is either because it's an ad for those housing associations, or from what I saw in some of the comments, it's actually because a lot of people were surprised that a person can be paying £541 for rent on a house that size. Now, the first thing is obviously where the house is going to determine its market value. And by virtue of that, that's going to actually determine whether it should be £541 or, like you might find in some northern cities in the UK, £500 or less for rent. Okay. And again, you guys let me know in the comments below, how much do you think the rent is in the area you live in? Okay. But the reality is the location is always going to have an impact in terms of that. But I think there's a bigger conversation that needs to be had here, which is what we're going to jump into the extended version of this video. But I think the first thing we need to realize is a lot of the times we are just not aware, because one of the things that's been surprising me a lot lately is people who act surprised about stuff they've never done any research into and then expect other people like me and you to think that them being surprised makes sense when of course they're supposed to be surprised. They didn't have a clue about the issue. And this is what happens again and again and again. Like if you're someone who hasn't researched statistics, so you don't understand how probabilities come about, you don't understand how predictions come about, you don't understand how things are actually done in the statistical world, what's going to happen? You're going to hear a statistic, 5.5% of X happens to Y, and you're just going to assume, oh, that's good, or oh, that's bad, or typically because 5 is such a low number, oh, that's bad, right? Instead of actually realizing that there's always a story behind the numbers, instead of actually realizing there's always a story behind the field that you're just getting into. Now, I'll do this with you as an example so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I was recently in a training session with a ministry group that I'm a part of, where we study the Bible, read the Bible and stuff like that. And inside of this group, I asked a very powerful question. I said to everyone in the group, I said, how much do you guys know? Like in all the years you've been alive, how much do you know? Like kind of like quantify it to any degree that you can, right? And you can do the same right now. You can think about, okay, how much do I know, right? And guess what the answer is usually going to be for most of us? It's going to be a lot. Like I know a lot. Like I've spent the last 40 something years like studying and learning and training and developing, right? So it's going to be a lot. I've studied 4 degrees. So it's going to be a lot for most of us, right? But then the next question that I asked in that same session was, based on how much you know, how much is that in the whole world of things that there are to know? Okay. And it was a very interesting turn in that conversation, because what happened is a lot of the people started to realize, hold on a minute, Samuel, you're right. Like I actually don't know much in the grand scheme of things, even though I know lots to do with maybe a few particular things. And I think the moment we get to that place where we have the humility in our hearts to recognize that, yes, I can talk about race issues, but I don't really know the depth of race issues. Yes, I can talk about political issues, but I don't really know the depth of political issues. Yes, I can talk about finance, but that's different because I've been studying it. I've been deep diving in it. I've taken professional qualifications, academic qualifications, as well as focused a whole bunch of my conversations for over 2 decades in this. You see, that now starts to build that humility where we start to understand, hold on a minute, I don't know everything about everything, even though I only know the thing I know. And I think this is where the difference comes between pride and humility, between people that recognize, you know what, this is a situation I know nothing about. Yes, I've got an opinion. Hey, here's my opinion, but it's just my opinion because I do not know anything about it. I've never formally studied this. I've never jumped into this. I've never been aware of this. Now, you might be thinking, Samuel, how did you get here off of a lady speaking about how she pays £541 for her rent? And the answer is simple. It's because most people who act surprised about things are only surprised because they didn't realize they've never looked into it themselves. So when they receive or work out or find out information about that area, it's the first time they're finding out about information in that area, which thus surprises them. So for anyone that is told tomorrow, hey, there's a lady out there who's paying £541 every single month in rent for a house that over time, due to the mechanism that she's using, she's actually going to own, most people will be surprised. Why? Because that's not their story, especially if you go to London, right? In London, what's going to happen if you have conversations with people here? They're going to say to you, hold on a minute, I'm paying £2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. Hold on a minute, I'm paying $3,400 for a 2 3-bedroom apartment. And just because their circumstance, their lived experience is different, they're going to automatically, unfortunately, assume that everybody else's lived experience is different. And I'm so grateful that 2012, my life changed when I got married to my wife. Why? I'll tell you why. Because my wife helped me understand, Samuel, not everybody's like you. I guess up until getting married, that was like my default thought process. Now, I didn't say it to people. I didn't even think I thought it consciously, but my wife helped me realize that subconsciously, that was some thought process that was averting me. It was literally messing up my whole life because I'd assume that they would do this because I would do this if I was in their shoes. And I'd assume that they would be nice because I'd be nice if I was in their shoes. And the reality is no one else is in your shoes. You're the only person in your shoes. So if you desire to not be surprised about people who are taking advantage in the world of real estate and property, then be the person who takes it upon themselves to go get educated in the field of real estate and property. If you desire to be someone who's not surprised, who's not caught unaware, as the Bible talks about, in the area of wealth, wholeness, yourself and development and health, right? In any area where you say to yourself, you know what, I don't want to, as they say in the ends, I don't want to be caught slipping. If you don't want to be caught slipping, then take it upon yourself at one day to let that one day be your 2 day to start your race in that lane. Because one thing is guaranteed, if 10 years is going to pass by anyway, wouldn't you want to say at the end of those 10 years, oh, I actually know 10 years worth of value in this area because I made a day today. I started. The Bible says a powerful verse. It says, today is the day of salvation. Now is the day of salvation. Why does it say that? Because you can put things off again and again, inevitably, for the rest of your life. Or you can say to yourself one day, you know what, I'm not going to put this off anymore. I'm going to recognize that this is so important. I'm going to start to study it. I'm going to start to figure it out. Without a doubt, I'm not going to be left out. This is a decision I had to make a number of years ago. First at the age of 19. After being released from prison the second time and saying to myself, I'm going to turn my life around and going to get my first full-time job as an estate agent, I had to make that decision to turn my life around. I couldn't wait for someone else to do it. I couldn't wait for someone else to tell me the loopholes, the cheat codes, the shortcuts. I couldn't. It was done. I was done. I was done with that. And the decision I made is, look, it might be a long, hard road, but let me start that long, hard road today. Because if I don't start that long, hard road today, guess what's going to happen? Someone else is going to start that long, hard road today. And I'm going to be sharing my opinion of them on that long, hard road 5 years, 10 years down the line when I still hadn't started the long, hard road. So this is, I guess, my clarion call to you today. Yes, the video was about, a lady who's paying £541 rent. But the video is really about how we miss out because we don't focus because we get riddled with doubt. So don't be that person. Instead, make a conscious decision today that you are going to go full-fledged into the lanes that you are desiring to do better in, to be better in, and to have more in. And if you make that decision, I can assure you of a few things. The first thing I can assure you is it doesn't take as long as you think it takes before you actually know way more in that field than most other people. Why? Because most other people dilute their focus. Okay. Second thing I can assure you is you will quickly start to get exponential gains inside of that lane. Why? Because you're going to be one of few people in that lane. Most people don't realize that the reason why some people get exponential bonuses and exponential benefits in the things they do is simply because there's just so few. When there's only 3 or 4 of us who are actually doing something in a consistent fashion, when there's only 3 or 4 of us who are actually raising our head above the parapet, as they call it, when there's only 3 or 4 of us that are actually doing the work, regardless of how it works, guess what happens? You become the 3 or 4 that people say, hold on a minute, they're the ones whom which I'd like to work. So this is my encouragement to you. Take that step. Let today be the day. Let this video be the video that makes you say, I'm going all in. With that being said, Samuel ICanWin, I'm signing out. As I usually say, remember, small keys open up big doors. Good day. God bless. I'll see you on the next one. Let's go.
Small keys open big doors.